Hello, and welcome you all to this channel. Today we are going to discuss on a very peculiar yet very intriguing topic. Today we are going to talk about coronavirus, COVID-19, conspiracy theories. One person in Wuhan eats an uncooked bat and your local departmental store runs out of toilet paper. This is such a surreal scenario. No wonder people are looking for alternative answers to how their normal life got blown into pieces in the matter of weeks. And while conspiracy theories are usually a marginal phenomenon, in this age of misinformation, these theories seem to take over the place of truth in science. While the truth is usually complex and often hard to understand, these clean-cut conspiracy narratives are designed to prey on pre-established suspicions, so they can seem like viable alternatives. And unfortunately, in our ever-connected social networks, these theories have a tendency to spread just as rapidly as COVID-19 does. Without further ado, let's get started. Buckle up your seatbelt and don't undo them until this video is over. Conspiracy Theory 1, COVID-19 escaped from a Chinese lab. This rumor came to life because Wuhan has China's only level 4 biolaboratories, where researchers have been studying coronaviruses for a long time, along with lots of other nastier viruses. And also, because Donald Trump himself believes and spreads this theory. There are maps that show how close the laboratory is to the Wuhan wet market, the suspected epicenter of the outbreak. Since the human brain is naturally wired to look for patterns, people can see this proximity as finding a missing piece of the puzzle. A level 4 biolaboratory has the highest level of biocontainment precautions to isolate dangerous agents. This is a universal standard set by the CDC. There is no level 5. This is as good as it gets. Therefore, chances of viruses escaping a level 4 environment are extremely low. But with most conspiracy theories, facts won't disturb people who want to believe in them. The idea that the new coronaviruses originated from the Wuhan lab came from a documentary produced by the Epoch Times, an English-language news outlet with links to a Chinese religious cult that has long been persecuted by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. In their documentary, they insisted in calling COVID-19 as the CCP virus. And since this notion went mainstream, it has even been used by the Trump administration to cast blame on the Chinese, pushing the two countries' relationship to an all-time low. By helping to spread this theory, people only helped a Chinese anti-governmental, religious cult they probably didn't even know exists. Conspiracy Theory 2, Coronavirus is a biological weapon. As early as January 2020, conservative Washington Times gave space to a news piece from its national security correspondent Bill Gretz, stating no less than coronavirus may have originated in lab linked to China's biowarfare program. In an article in a tabloid back in February, Stephen Mosher, an anthropologist, and author of Bully of Asia, Why China's Dream is the New Threat to World Order, also wrote that the coronavirus may have leaked from a lab in Wuhan. Only one more step from here and many people started to believe that the virus was actually engineered by Chinese scientists as a biological weapon. There was no end to it from this point. News, blog, social media sites were flooded with this misinformation. It seems it's harder to accept that a global catastrophe like this pandemic could happen as easily and coincidentally as it did. Science clearly proved that COVID-19 is a zoonotic virus, meaning it has spread to people from an animal. Several independent laboratories around the world verified this fact, and even an investigation by the United States military concluded that the weight of evidence indicates that the virus origin is natural. But that won't stop people spreading misinformation, and now nearly 1/3 of world's population believes that COVID-19 was made in a lab. Conspiracy Theory 3, COVID-19 is a USA virus. In response, China deployed its own propaganda machine to push their own agenda. China's foreign ministry spokesman tweeted that it's possible that the US military brought the virus to Wuhan. This went widespread in China. As much as Americans believe that the virus came from the Wuhan lab, a lot of people in China believe it was American military personnel who had brought the virus to China during their participation in the 2019 Military World Games in Wuhan last October. Just as Trump was pushing the name China virus, there was an accompanying attempt to rename COVID-19 the USA virus. This blame shifting has not stopped since, and we can only hope things will get better sooner than later. Conspiracy Theory 4, 5G networks are accelerating the spread of coronavirus. Flat out crazy, but people believe it. One of the biggest new conspiracy theories is that 5G networks spread the virus. This theory clearly shows that no PhD is required to create a Twitter or Facebook account. It should be needless to say that it is biologically impossible for viruses to spread using the electromagnetic spectrum. The latter are waves or photons, while the former are biological particles composed of proteins and nucleic acids. It's mind-boggling that even a single person buys this. But that's how conspiracy theories work. Take something we fear, like electromagnetic radiation of 5G networks. Add suspicions, like the notion that there is a hidden agenda behind the rapid rollout of 5G networks. Mix it up, and pour it over something that already preys on our mind, like the fear of COVID-19. In this case, it was a guy named David Icke, who believes 5G is a global conspiracy to cut the population. His followers claim he is a world-renowned scientist, being hunted by medical industry for saying the truth. In reality, he is a former football player as per other sources, a BBC presenter, and someone who believes the Earth is run by shape-shifting reptilian humanoids as found somewhere in web. And if anyone still believes that it's 5G towers that spread the virus, ask yourself this: 5G networks are only deployed in 34 countries, while COVID-19 is present in 212 countries at the moment. Conspiracy Theory 5: COVID-19 was unleashed by Bill Gates. Billionaires are indefinable figures. Some of them are detached from the rest of us. They are also perfect to be cast as villains. So, when the video of Bill Gates resurfaced from 2015 where he warns of a pandemic, some people clearly didn't understand what the founder of a computer company has to do with epidemiology. Unfortunately, that confusion led to theories, and those theories quickly got out of control. Now there are people who believe the virus was actually created by Bill Gates to make a few more billions on the vaccine. Only but a few people listened when Bill Gates first talked about a pandemic in 2010. In an interview in 2018, he mentioned that he urged Donald Trump to invest in pandemic preparedness. Obviously Trump did not listen. This year the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has pledged up to $100 million to improve detection, isolation, and treatment efforts, protect at-risk populations in Africa and South Asia, and accelerate the developments of vaccine, drugs, and diagnostics. Gates spent much of the second act of his career initiating and supporting efforts to prevent and control infectious diseases. His knowledge on viruses is on par with the world's best epidemiologists. As this COVID-19 conspiracy theory goes, Gates owns the patent for the new coronavirus that wasn't even discovered until January 2020. And he has shares in companies that are currently working around the clock to come up with a vaccine. The latter part is actually true. Gates did help fund many potential coronavirus vaccines, and he is spending billions of dollars by doing so. Conspiracy Theory 6: Coronavirus is about money. To the layman, vaccine production seems like the greatest business in the world. Most everybody's going to need it sooner or later, so that must be paid by someone. Truth is, the search for and the development of a new vaccine is a highly risky philanthropic endeavor. In other words, it is extremely expensive, time-consuming and risky. During the SARS epidemic, a team of Texas scientists started developing a promising vaccine against the virus. Years of effort and millions of dollars spent, they finally came close to having a vaccine, but by the time they had it, the SARS was gone and no one was interested in their findings anymore. At the time there was no reason to continue the research, so the money and the effort was wasted. Another thing is if they had continued, by now we would be closer to a vaccine today, as SARS and COVID-19 are closely related. Conclusions: it's easy to get lost in theories. People can come up with an infinite number of narratives. Now, when trust in the governments and the media is at an all-time low, there are plenty of conspiracy theorists who would want to rise and push their own agenda for the susceptible population. And the only thing science can't do is to fight fire with fire. In this case, COVID-19 is exactly what it looks like: an unfortunate, but statistically inevitable event that experts have been warning us for decades and for which our actions are long being overdue. If there's anything this pandemic should teach us, is that our faith should always be in science, because that's the only thing that doesn't have an agenda, and actually is able to lead us out of a crisis. But for what? We need to come together, focus on the common goal, and not be subservient to the small but loud minority who claim they know better. Because whenever we spread a conspiracy theory, chances are we have not discovered a missing puzzle piece, but we are accidentally pushing someone else's agenda. If you like the video, let us know in the comments section. Also fire up that thumbs up button if you like the video. Your suggestions, recommendations, and advices are always welcome. We come up with videos related to facts, figures and theories. If you want to recommend us, please feel free to do so. And lastly, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to keep notified on our latest updates.